Hello everyone, my name is Gaurav Shresth. Thank you very much for joining us today in our webinar. So today we have a very special webinar on SLBM. SLBM stands for Securities Lending and Borrowing. In this webinar, we will cover the basic of our product, SLBM. What SLBM is about, how you can earn an extra income from the shares which is lying in your portfolio through SLBM. Since when the SLBM is there in the market and in Kotak Securities, how you can activate your SLBM in Kotak Securities, and what are the major active stocks which are giving a good interest rate as of now. So these are all the major points that we will be covering in our today's session. Okay, so without wasting much of our time, I will introduce our special guest, which is there from National Stock Exchange, Mr. Pandurang Galande. He will give us an perspective from the exchange angle. He will basically be covering the in-depth part of an SLBM, and also he will give us the margin requirements and all the volumes and all for the SLBM. So Pandurang, very much welcome for our today's
Thank you.
webinar. Okay. First of all, I will start my presentation. As you can see, SLBM stand for Securities Lending and Borrowing. So how does SLBM works, and who are the main participant in SLBM? In SLBM, basically there are two main participants, as you can see in your screen. One is the borrower, another is the lender. An exchange act is as kind of a middleman for both of them. What happens basically is the lender is the party uh, who have a share in his Demat account and want to earn an extra income. So let's suppose if you have Reliance in your Demat account or Kotak Bank in your Demat account, and you are holding the stock for a long term, and you want to earn an extra income from your shares which is lying in your Demat account, what you can do is basically you can be a lender, and through the SLBM product, you can lend the shares for a short term to a borrower. Borrower will mostly be a short seller or anyone who needs the stock for a short term basis. And in exchange of a stock, he will give you a certain income. So that income will be the extra income that you will be getting for your stock. Stock will come back again in your Demat account uh, after the expiry of a contract. So when the expiry exactly happens and how the entire contract work, Pandurang will help us for the same. Uh, so why SLBM? What are the main benefits of it? First, as we covered, it's help you to earn an income from your idle portfolio. It's a low risk product. Low risk in the sense that the risk is covered by the exchange. So in case there is a default, although the chances of a default is hardly, I would say, 1 or 2%, but in case there is a default, you will be getting a cash settlement. So in that terms, it's very less risky, and it's an opportunity to earn an income from your portfolio without actually selling the stock. So these are the main benefit of SLBM. We will again cover what are the main benefit for the lender as well as for the borrower going forward. So there are main three types of order types in SLBM. One is the lending. Obviously, if you have a share in your Demat account and if you want to lend your stock, you will be placing a lend order, and then you have a borrow kind of an order, and then once you have done the transaction, when you have done the initial transaction of a lending or a borrowing, then comes the repay or the recall part, where you can either repay or recall the share. So in case you have done a lending, let's say for a 60 days period, and now you want to recall your stock within 45 days or within 30 days for whatever reason. So you can do that. That is known as the recall option. Similarly, if there is a borrower who have borrowed a stock and he want to again, repay it before the expiry date, he can do that. That order type known as the repay. So these are the three main order types that we have in SLBM. The benefit of SLBM, there are two separate participants. Both of them have a separate benefit. For a lender, as we have covered, you can earn an income on your idle portfolio. There is no counterparty risk, or there is very less counterparty risk. Since the risk transaction is guaranteed by the NSCCIL. Attractive yield is available to the lender for most of the stocks. For the borrower, the benefit is that you can do a cash and future arbitrage. Uh, so in case you have a short view on particular stock, or in case you want to do a short selling, you can also do an SLBM, or you can also borrow a stock from SLBM and use it for a short selling purpose. And obviously, you have a freedom to repay anytime that you want. So these are the main benefit for a borrower. Margin requirement. So while placing an order on a T day, like when I say T day, it basically means the first day. Like if you are executing the SLBM today, the margin requirement will be 25% of the lending price. So that is from the exchange angle. For our client, what happens basically, since we do an early payment of a share, that is not applicable uh, in most of the cases. From T plus 1 day, anyway, there is 0% margin requirement if in case you are a lender. And same goes with the reverse leg, there is no margin requirement for a lenders. Impact for the corporate action. So there are many kind of corporate action, and we will cover those separately by Pandurang. But just to give you a brief idea, uh, as a lender, you are still a owner of a stock. So the corporate action benefit will come to you only in most of the cases, especially if you are looking out for a dividend or stock split, it will be coming to you. The exact mechanism works differently for different corporate action. Let's say for stock split, what happens basically is the entire new quantity, okay, after the stock split, whatever is there, will come back in the reverse leg from borrower to a lender. In case of a dividend will go to a borrower initially, then exchange transferred over to the broker, and broker we transfer it over to the lender. So basically, in nutshell, as a lender, you are still a owner of a stock. So you will be getting the benefit of a corporate action. There are further more details about corporate action depending on the what kind of a corporate action we have, and depending on that, there can be further, complexity. But yeah, in general, you will be getting the benefit of a corporate action. So these are the point from my angle, the basic of a SLBM. So, Pandurang, I will be just hand it over to you to take us to the volume and take us to the more depth part of a SLBM, especially from the NSE angle. I think you can help us out with more further information. So, yeah, hand it over to you, Pandurang.
Thank you, Gaurav. Good evening, all, and thank you for sparing your time with us today for understanding this securities lending and borrowing mechanism. Before starting the subject, I would like to give some brief about myself. I've been associated with NEC from last 14 years. I am part of business development team, and I take care of all products at NEC for the business development. So through my journey at NAC, I've been handling different products, starting from currencies, currency derivatives to equity derivatives, securities lending, borrowing, debt, and henceforth, and all the products which are there on NAC. But the today's topic is securities lending and borrowing. So I will briefly take you through some of the minute points which Gaurav might have already covered, but I would emphasize on few points which will make you all clients comfortable in participating in this particular product. So, as Gaurav has already told you all, and the name itself says that it's a securities lending and borrowing mechanism. So, what is it? It is simply whatever securities or whatever portfolios as a client we are holding, we can simply lend it or we can simply rent it out to someone who is in need of those stocks for a specific period of time, and we can earn that fees, that lending fees, or in a layman's language, it's a rent which you will get on your securities. So, a very basic premise of this product is whatever portfolios you are having as a client, you can earn additional alpha on your portfolio through this particular product. So, that is what the product is in single line. Just to take you uh, to the some of the parts of what this product is all about. So SLB, to tell you, is a legally approved medium or a product which is approved by SEBI uh, uh, for doing your lending and borrowing transactions. So it is not an illegal product; it's a legal product wherein SEBI had given some regulations in the year 1997, and after that, with each and every update from participants, from from exchange, from SEBI. There are modifications have been done in the products, and that is how the current product how it stands. We will go into the details of the product in coming slides. So a good part of this product is all type of market participants are permitted to trade or to participate in this product. Now, the question will come that why someone will come and participate in this product. So, I have already told you from a lender's perspective, which is our audience for the today, and it is a no-brainer that if you want to, if you're holding your stocks for a longer tenure, and if you don't want to sell it in near future, you can simply give it on a rent, or you can simply lend it in the securities lending and borrowing. The best part, which Gaurav already mentioned, is that NCL, which is the clearing corporation body of NSE, is giving settlement guarantee on your trades. So whatever positions or whatever lending borrowing you are doing, you're actually doing it with NCL, and NCL ensures that none of the trade goes without settlement. So settlement guarantee is been provided. So that's the basic comfort which client should be having, that whatever products you're participating, whether it's a SEBI approved, and what settlement guarantee is given by the corporation or the exchange. So this is about from the lender side. Now, all the clients will get this question that it is okay that we will get additional income. But what? Who are the people who will borrow, and why will they pay rent? So there are different reasons, but to not to complicate and highlight only couple of important reason is when someone has shorted in the security market and the security does not lie to with that person, so he can simply borrow from the market, and he can after borrowing from SLB, he can simply settle in the secondary market. That is one of the first reason. Second reason is the reverse arbitrage. So all the prop traders and other people who see some arbitrage opportunities wherein the stock is trading, like the futures is trading at discount compared with their underlying. In such cases, these people make some risk-free returns, that is called arbitrage. So such cases, what they do, they simply borrow it from the markets, they sell it to the secondary market. So I don't want to confuse, or I don't want to take you to the borrowing side for a simple reason that we are not the targeted audience, but for a simple reason that we all should be aware that what we are doing. So this is one of the reason. Third reason I'll just highlight is the physical settlement. You all must be aware that now uh, FNO stock derivatives, there is compulsory physical settlement. So whatever stock, whatever positions you are having in derivatives, stock derivatives, it has to be physically settled. In such cases also, there could be need wherein people do not have stock. In such cases, they can come and borrow. So this is how the overall overview of the product is. Now, we'll couple of slides. We'll just understand what is this product is all about. So there are 614 securities currently which are available in the SLB. So not all securities which are there in the secondary market are available. So which all securities are available? First one is all the FNO stocks. uh, those gets by default eligible. Secondly, there is this eligibility criteria from clearing corporations end. Whichever stock is fulfilling this criteria, those stocks are also been eligible for this SLB. And secondly, ETF also there is a criteria, and those ETFs who fulfill that criteria, those securities are also added. So to tell you, in total 614 securities are available at this moment if you wanted to lend or borrow. There are 12 monthly contracts. Derivatives, equity derivatives, you all must be knowing that there are 3 monthly contracts, or nowadays there are weekly contracts as well. But here only monthly contracts, and 12 cycles of the 12 monthly cycles are available. The market timings are 9:15 to 5 o'clock. So uh, unlike your equity ends at 3:30. This market is till 5 o'clock in the evening. Market type, I think Gaurav has already covered it. I will not take time on that. Second is the position limit. How much stock one can lend or one can borrow, that is again a very important. So we have to understand first is what is market wide position limit, and what is the limit for a broker or for a client. So we are concerned about our client level limit, which is 1% of market wide position limit. So market wide position limit is calculated based on the non promoter security held in the market. Out of that, 1% is the market wide position limit. All the limits are displayed on the website. Security wise limits are been given in the Excel on nseindia.com. So someone, if someone wants to uh, go and do some research, they can obviously go to NSE India and understand what securities are available and what are the limits of the same. Settlement, I will speak that in much of a detail in coming slide. Continuing the product specifications, as I must tell you that there are two type of contracts which are available. Okay, one is the regular contract, which are the old contract we see, and one is the new contract. So for one security, we'll just take an example. HDFC Bank, if that is a security and which is available in the SLB market, Securities Lending and Borrowing. So you as a client will be able to see 12 regular contracts and 12 new contracts. So all in all, 24 contracts will be available for a client. Now, what is the difference between the old contract and the new contract? There's only simple difference for the new contracts, wherein in case of a corporate action, wherein AGM or EGM is announced, the new contracts does not get foreclosed. That is the simple difference you have to understand. To tell you, the maximum volume or the maximum participation happens in the new contracts only, because of this advantage. The contracts does not get foreclosed. uh, I'll tell you the reverse leg. Like if a client has given lend his shares when in the current month, when his shares will be returning back. So the settlement of these contracts happen on first Thursday of the respective months, and the name of the contract is denoted by their number. So January, February, you will see serial number contracts, and the new contracts also. It's just that the X is added, and for October, November, December, it is XO, XN, and XD. That is October, November, and December. So this is how the denomination, like the nomenclature of these contracts have been given. In case there is a holiday on first Thursday, which is the reverse leg, now we'll have to, as a clients, we'll have to understand these terminologies. Although it is not that difficult, but reverse leg leg is basically when the your security settlement is happening, when the security is coming back to you as a lender. So that is called a reverse leg. So in case there is a holiday on Thursday, the settlement is postponed to the next day, which is a Friday. Okay. So this is about the contract specifications. Now we'll move to a very important slide. I think this slide, if we understand it in detail, I think as a client, there shall not be any issues in understanding this particular product. Just the process we need to be very clear, very much clear about, and if we are thorough about it, and I think then I think there shall not be any issues in terms of understanding at least. So here to explain this particular slide, I'll just take one example. With that simple example, you will be able to understand the complete slide. It looks little congested, but it is not. I'll tell you. So I'll take one example. In our example, Mr. A is there and Mr. B is there. Okay. So there are two clients, Mr. A and Mr. B. A is your lender and B is your borrower. Okay. So what is happening that due to XYZ reason, Mr. B is in requirement of ABC's shares, 100 shares of 10 rupees each. Okay. So yesterday's close price was 10 rupees and the quantity required is 100. I'm taking small numbers just for everyone's understanding. So what happens in this particular case? He comes to SLB and he puts order, borrow order. So as a client, Mr. A sees that order and he's saying that although I have that security with me and I can lend it, and I don't want to sell it in near future, I can simply lend it to earn additional income. So what happens? he also goes into the market and he lends the security. So you'll have to remember these numbers. Quantity is 100 and the price is 10. Yesterday's share price is 10. Okay. Now, there shall be that rent or the lending fees, which I was saying earlier, that should be market determined. So, Mr. B is ready to borrow at 1 rupees. So, for a month, 1 month, he is ready to pay 1 rupee to Mr. A, and Mr. A is also ready for 1 rupee. He is ready to lend his shares to Mr. B. So this is a simple example. What happens to a lender, that is Mr. A? He simply can do early paying, which is, I think, the Kotak Security is offering this particular facility, and I think it is a very good facility. If Mr. A is doing early paying, in such cases, they shall not be there shall not be any margin applicability to Mr. A. What happens to Mr. B? Mr. B just needs to have 100% of the lending fees, which is 1 rupees into the quantity. That is 100 rupees. So if he is having 100 rupees, he can simply execute his orders. So the order is executed and the margin requirement for the T day is known to everyone. On T plus 1 day, because in SLB, settlement is T plus 1 day. So what is happening at 9:30, Mr. A has to give his security, like the broker of Mr. A has to give the security, and broker B, broker of Mr. B needs to give the fees to NCL at 9:30. सो एक के पास से पैसा आ रहा है, दूसरे के पास से सिक्योरिटीज आ रहा है, दोनों एनसीएल के पास आ रहा है. आफ्टर दैट व्हाट इज हैपनिंग, 11:30 को एक एनसीएल क्या करता है, 11:30 को जिसके पास से पैसा लिया था, हियर इन दिस केस मिस्टर बी, उनसे उन्होंने पैसा लेके दे दिया मिस्टर ए को, और जो सिक्योरिटीज मिस्टर ए ने दिया था वो सिक्योरिटीज दे दिया मिस्टर बी को. सो दिस इज हाउ 9:30 securities and cash settlement happen. And at the second leg, like the next is at 11:30. So this is very important at T plus 1 day. Okay. So these timelines are basically for the brokers and not for the client. So clients will have to make their shares readily available before these times, so that the member does not default in doing the operations. So this is how the first leg we call. Okay. First leg मतलब जब भी उसने ट्रेड डाला तभी तक का हो गया. Now we'll come to a reverse leg. पूरा फॉर अ मंथ ये पूरा के पूरा ट्रांजैक्शन चला. ऑन फर्स्ट थर्सडे व्हाट हैपेंस, मिस्टर बी ने जो शेयर्स लिए थे 100, दैट ही हैज टू रीपे. नाउ दो शेयर्स नीड्स टू बी गिवन बैक टू मिस्टर ए, बिकॉज एसएलबी में ओनरशिप ट्रांसफर होता ही नहीं है. इट इज जस्ट फॉर अ टेम्पररी पीरियड, the stocks have been lended. Okay. So because ownership doesn't change, at expiry the stock shall go to a actual owner, here in our case Mr. A. Okay. So what is happening in the reverse leg, which is a Thursday? So Thursday को 9:30 11:30 बजे तक वो स्टॉक्स मिस्टर ए के पास पहुंच जाना चाहिए. सो 9:30 को मिस्टर बी को वो स्टॉक देना पड़ेगा, एंड 11:30 को एनसीएल वो स्टॉक लेके जो मिस्टर ए का ब्रोकर है उनको दे देंगे. सो दैट इज हाउ द सिंपल सेटलमेंट हैपेंस. व्हाट इफ इन केस देयर इज मिस्टर बी इज नॉट एबल टू गिव द स्टॉक बैक? सो इन सच केसेस ऑक्शन होता है, और ऑक्शन सेटलमेंट के थ्रू मिस्टर ए को स्टॉक दिया जाता है. सो दिस इज हाउ सिंपल एग्जाम्पल एंड सिंपल प्रोसेसिंग हाउ इट हैपेंस. दिस टाइमलाइंस आर जस्ट फॉर योर अंडरस्टैंडिंग. क्लाइंट के हिसाब से इसका रिक्वायरमेंट चेंज हो सकता है फ्रॉम ब्रोकर टू ब्रोकर, just to handle the operations. But from NSE side, these are the timelines. Now, very quickly, we will come to some of the benefits of this product, which is very important these days. SLB में जैसे मैंने already बोला, under income tax, there is no transfer. This transaction is not a transfer of ownership. So जो भी long term, short term के हिसाब से income tax का benefit लेना है clients को, they can still continue to do that, to get that. जैसे आप देखते रहेंगे आपका इक्विटी और इक्विटी डेरिवेटिव्स में there is STT. Here in SLB, because there is no transfer, so no STT, no SEBI turnover charges. From NSE side, the transaction charges are being waived off for a certain period of time. So currently NSE also is not charging any transaction charges. So whatever income will arise by lending your stock will be termed as a business income. So additional income के तौर पे आप दिखा सकते हैं to get the benefit of. So in a nutshell, this is what I had to tell you for today's session as a product. But as a numbers, as a volumes, if we have to see, so इसमें क्या होता है ना, not all the securities are that liquid. So opportunity basis पे काम होता है. Wherever the securities are liquid, we should be quick enough to understand that and to lend our shares to the market, considering what are our requirement, what is the returns that we are expecting. On that basis, I think we can see the opportunities in the market and we can execute the trades. So this particular graph is basically telling you कि अभी तक कैसा business चल रहा है, although the numbers are not updated. So till March, I think we've done 23.80 crores का lending fees. So which is also not a very small amount, because ये lending fees की बात कर रहा हूँ मैं, अगर actual value of the stocks is quite high. So this is how this is how the product is such a big product which is getting attraction these days in the market. This is another slide which tells you that कि top 10 securities कितना contribute करते हैं. So when we studied the data, I think more or less one can say that approximately 80 to 85% of the work or the volume happens in the top 10 securities of that particular month. So if you see the securities are also very common. मतलब ऐसा नहीं है कि illiquid या unwanted securities में काम हो रहा है. So the names like HDFC Bank, IRCTC, Voltas, then MRF. So all these are big companies, and these are the stocks which are giving you the volume. So I believe these are the stocks one client actually the clients are holding in their portfolio, and accordingly, if they see some opportunities, they can come to this market and take benefit of this particular product. So that is it from my side. Over to Gaurav.
Thank you, Pandurang. Thank you for such a wonderful presentation. Pandurang, we have a lot of people with a view that we should also explain them in Hindi. So I think थोड़ा सा हिंदी में एक ब्रीफ दे देते हैं आप सबको, जस्ट सो दैट हमारे जो हिंदी के ऑडियंस है उनको भी थोड़ा सा इन्फॉर्मेशन मिल जाए. SLBM में बेसिकली क्या होता है, दो मेन पार्टिसिपेंट होते हैं, लेंडर एंड बोरोवर. अगर आपके पास में शेयर ऑलरेडी है आपके डीमेट अकाउंट पे, ओके, और लॉन्ग टर्म के लिए अगर वो है, तो आप SLBM प्रोडक्ट का यूज कर सकते हैं टू अर्न एन एक्स्ट्रा इनकम. उसमें से और ज्यादा इनकम कमाने के लिए आप इसको SLBM प्रोडक्ट को यूज कर सकते हैं, जिसमें कि आप अपने शेयर को बिना बेचे हुए और इनकम बना पाओगे. ठीक है, तो वही हम लोगों ने इस प्रेजेंटेशन में कवर किया बेसिकली कि SLBM प्रोडक्ट के और बाकी क्या क्या फीचर्स हैं. SLBM प्रोडक्ट के थ्रू में आप एज अ लेंडर बन सकते हो, सामने एक बोरोवर रहेगा, बीच में एक्सचेंज होगा जो कि एज अ गारंटर काम करेगा फॉर द एंटायर ट्रांजेक्शन, और आपका शेयर आपके डीमेट में से जाएगा फॉर अ सर्टन पीरियड, कुछ टाइम समय के लिए, एंड आपको वापस शेयर आ जाएगा एक्सपायरी के टाइम पे. ये जो कुछ समय के लिए शेयर आपके अकाउंट में से बाहर जाएगा उसके लिए आपको इनकम मिलेगा. तो बेसिकली ये होता है SLBM. क्योंकि हमारे इतने सारे लोगों ने हिंदी में रिक्वेस्ट किया, मे बी इन फ्यूचर वी कैन ट्राई टू हैव, हम लोग हिंदी में भी वेबिनार करने की कोशिश करेंगे. एनीवे, Pandurang, let's move on to the Q&A session. ठीक है, तो what we will do, we will take some of the questions from the client. So one of the questions that I'm getting is, what is lending fee? Pandurang, can you please just help us out with that? What is lending fee exactly for a common people? Let's suppose if someone is not aware about SLBM, how you can explain them lending fee?
So जैसे मैंने बताया मेरे प्रेजेंटेशन में, सिक्योरिटीज लेंडिंग एंड बोरोइंग, इसका मतलब यही है कि आप आपके शेयर्स, एक सिंपल भाषा में अगर मुझे समझाना है, तो आप उसे भाड़े पे दे रहे हैं या रेंट पे दे रहे हैं आपका स्टॉक फॉर अ स्पेसिफिक पीरियड. अपने एग्जाम्पल में हमने देखा कि हमारा स्टॉक हम 1 महीने के लिए दे रहे थे रेंट पे, और उसका रेंट जो कमाई हमें मिलने वाला था, जैसे ABC लिमिटेड का 100 क्वांटिटी जो मिस्टर ए लेंड कर रहे थे हमारे हमारे एग्जाम्पल में, उस केस में क्या हो रहा था, 1 रुपया लेंडिंग फीस हो रहा था। मतलब एक पूरा महीने के लिए मिस्टर बी कैन यूज दो शेयर्स एंड इन टर्न ही विल गिव, उसके बदले में वो 1 रुपया देंगे मिस्टर ए को, उसको हम लोग लेंडिंग फीस बोलते हैं। सो एक ट्रांजैक्शन में, एसएलबी के ट्रांजैक्शन में जो भी ट्रेड होता है वो लेंडिंग फीस ट्रेड होता है। जैसे कि अगर मिस्टर बी रेडी है बोरो करने के लिए 1 रुपए में, बट मिस्टर ए को देना है वो 2 रुपए में, तो ऐसे केस में बिड आपका आ जाएगा 1 रुपया और आस्क आ जाएगा आपका 2 रुपया। जैसे आपको पता रहेगा, जब आप कोई भी मार्केट में, कोई भी सिक्योरिटी में आप टॉप 5 बायर्स और सेलर्स देखते हैं, बिड एंड आस्क आप देखते हो, उसके हिसाब से आपका ऑर्डर बुक बनते जाएगा। सो ये 1 रुपया और 2 रुपया की जो हम बात कर रहे हैं, वो अपने केस में लेंडिंग फीस है। अगर लेट्स से 1 रुपया और 1.5 रुपया का बिड एंड आस्क है, और किसी हाइपोथेटिकल और मिस्टर सी एंड मिस्टर डी आते हैं मार्केट में लेंड एंड बोरो के लिए, और वो 1.5 रुपया में वो ट्रांजैक्शन एग्जीक्यूट कर लेते हैं। ये 1.5 रुपया इन टू योर 100 क्वांटिटी विच इज 150 रुपीज, 150 रुपया आपका लेंडिंग फीस हुआ ये ट्रांजैक्शन के लिए। आई होप आई एम एबल टू एक्सप्लेन कि व्हाट इज लेंडिंग फीस इन आवर कॉन्टेक्स्ट।
Yes, Pandurang. Thank you. So we have another question. Can we give pledged securities in SLBM? No, Mr. Rushav have this question. We cannot give a pledged securities in SLBM. The share that you want to lend it for SLBM has to be completely free. Has to be completely freely available in your Demat account. Only then you can, lend your share in SLBM. I request everyone, all our viewers, आपके जो भी क्वेश्चन हो, हिंदी में हो या इंग्लिश में हो, you can just write it in a comment section, and we will be more than happy to take it. Another question is how to check price for securities. One of the easiest way to check the price is actually to go to the NSE website, and we can check the SLBM price from there. So there is Pandurang, do you want to help us with the path how we can check the price from the NSE website, and what are the two series, and how we can check different contracts?
करेक्ट। सो ये आपको पूरा के पूरा मार्केट में क्या एक्टिविटी हो रहा है, कौन से स्टॉक में एक्टिविटी है, कौन से स्टॉक में बिड और आस्क है, कौन से स्टॉक में वॉल्यूम हो रहा है, कितना यील्ड मिल रहा है, कितना इनकम हो रहा है सालाना परसेंटेज के तौर पे, ये सारी इंफॉर्मेशन nseindia.com की वेबसाइट पे अवेलेबल है। अगर आप nseindia.com पे जाएंगे, वहां पे जाने के बाद आपको मार्केट डेटा में जाके एसएलबी, सिक्योरिटीज लेंडिंग एंड बोरोइंग पे आपको वो प्रोडक्ट ढूंढना है। प्रोडक्ट्स के अंदर, वो प्रोडक्ट्स के अंदर आप जैसे ही क्लिक करेंगे, आपको पूरे की पूरी लिस्ट आ जाएगी, जो भी सिक्योरिटीज में ओपन इंटरेस्ट है, जो भी सिक्योरिटीज में ट्रेड हो रहा है, जो भी सिक्योरिटीज में बिड और आस्क रेट आ रहा है, वो सारी की सारी एक जगह इकट्ठा आपको देखने मिलेगी। वो लिस्ट के साथ में आप आपका एनालिसिस भी कर सकते हैं। एनालिसिस के तौर पे आप उसको फिल्टर कर सकते हैं हाईएस्ट वॉल्यूम लोवेस्ट वॉल्यूम के हिसाब से, हाईएस्ट ओपन इंटरेस्ट लोवेस्ट ओपन इंटरेस्ट के हिसाब से आप उसको फिल्टर कर सकते हैं। सेकेंडली, जैसे मैंने आपको बताया था कि ए सीरीज, दैट इज द ओल्ड सीरीज एंड द न्यू सीरीज, उसके हिसाब से आप फिल्टर करके देख सकते हैं। अगर आपको कोई स्पेसिफिक स्टॉक ढूंढना है, जैसे एचडीएफसी बैंक हो गया, अब हमारे एग्जाम्पल में जो हमने बात की थी, अगर एचडीएफसी बैंक आप सर्च करेंगे तो एचडीएफसी बैंक में बिडास क्या चल रहा है, टॉप 5 बायर सेलर्स क्या है, कितना ओपन इंटरेस्ट है, ये सारी की सारी इंफॉर्मेशन आपको nseindia.com पे आपको मिलेगी। यहाँ पे सिर्फ आपको मार्केट डेटा करके एक टैब है, मार्केट डेटा के अंदर आपको सिक्योरिटीज लेंडिंग एंड बोरोइंग सर्च करना है। उस पे जैसे ही आप क्लिक करेंगे तो वो पेज आपको खुल जाएगा, वहां पे आप पूरा के पूरा डेटा यहाँ पे देख सकते हैं।
Thank you, Pandurang. Moving on to the next question. So there are many questions that is coming from the clients. I will take few of them. Okay, so one question is there: how can I know which stock can be put for SLBM? So we have covered that part. You can go to the NSE website. You can check the stock which are active in SLBM, and you can give an instruction to your RM to execute lending orders for that particular stock. So that is one way. Another way is also, if you're a Kotak client, you can directly speak with your RM to check whether any of your holding have or are active in SLBM, and obviously you can give a lending order for that. Mm. There's some question regarding a taxation part. So taxation part has already been covered by Pandurang. The taxation income goes in the income goes in the business income section for taxation, and it will be taxable as per your tax layer that you comes into. For further information on taxation, obviously we will recommend you guys to contact the CA, because we will not be the right person to answer that. What is the average lending percentage? It depends from client to depending from stock to stock, and depending from time to time as well. So we will not be able to give the lending percentage, the average lending percentage. Can NRI client participate in SLBM? As a Kotak client, as of now, you guys cannot participate in SLBM. The NRI client cannot participate in SLBM as of now. Can we execute SLBM contract if two party have demat account with two separate broker firm? Obviously, you can. If you are a Kotak client and you want to lend it, obviously we will push your order to the exchange, and exchange can whoever is the borrower. It can be from any other broker. It does not matter. Okay. Pandurang, there are few concern from the client on the risk part. Do you want to cover the risk angle of SLBM? Like as a lender, uh, technically, what is the risk, and if
Yes,
in case there's a
yes,
default, how that is managed by exchange?
yes, yes. So even I saw a couple of questions around that कि मतलब मैं मेरा स्टॉक है वो स्टॉक में ऑक्शन में जाने से कैसे बचाऊं एज अ लेंडर समवन इज आस्किंग सो मैं आपको सिंपल भाषा में यही बताऊंगा कि एज अ लेंडर आपने स्टॉक दे दिया, अभी आपको स्टॉक आना है रिवर्स लेग पे। रिवर्स लेग का मतलब है सेटलमेंट डेट, और इसमें सेटलमेंट होता है फर्स्ट थर्सडे ऑफ एवरी मंथ, पहले गुरुवार को इसका सेटलमेंट होगा। तो पहले गुरुवार को आपको स्टॉक आना है, ठीक है। अब जो लेंडर है वो लेंडर स्टॉक एनसीएल को देगा, ठीक है। अगर उसने एनसीएल को टाइम पीरियड में दे दिया तो वो स्टॉक ऑटोमेटिकली वो क्लाइंट को मिलने ही वाला है, जो लेंडर था उनको मिलने ही वाला है। इन केस वो लेंडर जो बोरोवर था वो बोरोवर स्टॉक रिटर्न नहीं कर पाया, ऐसे केसेस में क्या होगा? ऐसे केसेस में क्या होता है, जैसे इसका सेटलमेंट मॉर्निंग में है 9:30 11:30, हम लोग क्या करते हैं, जैसे ही अगर कोई बोरोवर स्टॉक नहीं दे पाता है, हम वो स्टॉक का ऑक्शन कर लेते हैं। ऑक्शन में वो स्टॉक आ जाता है 2:30 बजे। ऑक्शन में हम ये डिस्प्ले कर देते हैं, और ऑक्शन के हिसाब से वो स्टॉक हम जो भी जिसके भी पास ये स्टॉक है और वो ज्यादा बेसिस दे के वो स्टॉक देना चाहता है, वैसे केसेस में ऑक्शन, जैसे सेकेंडरी मार्केट का ऑक्शन ऑक्शन होता है, सेम वे उसी तरह से इसका भी ऑक्शन होता है, और वो ऑक्शन मैकेनिज्म के तौर पे हम वो स्टॉक लेते हैं, और जो बोरोवर था, जो लेंडर था, वो लेंडर को हम स्टॉक दे देते हैं। अगर रिस्क पार्ट की हम बात करें तो रिस्क में जैसे बताया कि जो लेंडर है, लेंडर ने तो स्टॉक दे दिया, बट जो बोरोवर होता है वो बोरोवर से एनसीएल मार्जिन लेता है, और वो बहुत ह्यूज ह्यूज बोलने का मतलब बहुत अप्रोप्रिएट मार्जिन देता है, सो दैट इन ऑल केसेस द रिस्क इज कवर्ड, ठीक है। सो अगर मैं सिंपल एक एग्जांपल लूं, अगर कोई स्टॉक का वैल्यू लेट्स से 1000 रुपीज है और वो स्टॉक किसी ने लेंड किया है, तो एनसीएल क्या, उसका प्रीवियस डे का प्राइस विच इज 1000 रुपीज इन आवर केस, प्लस आपका वार और ईएलएम। वार और ईएलएम आपको पता रहेगा, एक्सचेंज कैलकुलेट करके वेबसाइट पे रखता है फॉर ईच एंड एवरी स्टॉक। तो ये स्टॉक में लेट्स अज्यूम करें कि 50% का वार और ईएलएम मिला के 50% आ रहा था, तो 1000 का 50% होता है 500 रुपीज। ऐसे केसेस में एनसीएल जो बोरोवर है वो बोरोवर से 1500 रुपीज पर शेयर के हिसाब से मार्जिन ब्लॉक रखता है। सो जो रिस्क है, risk arising out of default done by borrower is all the time covered. That is what NCL, that is how NCL manages their risk. NCL इस तरह से रिस्क मैनेज करता है कि इन केस अगर जो बोरो किया है उन्होंने अगर स्टॉक नहीं भी दे पाए, तो उनका जो पैसा ब्लॉक है वो पैसा मार्केट में दे के स्टॉक लेके आके जो लेंडर है उनको रिटर्न कर पाए। तो ये एनसीएल बहुत अच्छे से रिस्क मैनेज करते हैं, और इसी के लिए इतना ज्यादा या इतना हेवी मार्जिन बोरोवर पे करके इसमें पार्टिसिपेट करता है। इन केस लेट्स से वर्स्ट केस सिनारियो हम लोग डिस्कस कर लेते हैं। वर्स्ट केस सिनारियो में जो बोरोवर था वो बोरोवर स्टॉक नहीं दे पाया, एनसीएल ने ऑक्शन में लेके गए, ऑक्शन में भी किसी ने भी वो स्टॉक में ऑर्डर नहीं डाला, तो ऑक्शन भी अनआंसर्ड गया। ऐसे केस में ऐसे केसेस में क्लोज आउट में जाते हैं, और क्लोज आउट में जो क्लोज आउट का भी एक प्रोसेस है, बट एक सिंप्लिसिटी के हिसाब से मैं बताऊं तो जो एलटीपी का 20% होता है उतना पेनल्टी सामने वाले क्लाइंट को लगता है, इन आवर केस बोरोवर। तो उतना पेनल्टी के साथ में पूरा के पूरा पैसा एनसीएल लेके जो लेंडर है जिन्होंने स्टॉक दिया था उनको वो पैसा दे देती है। बट ये वर्स्ट केस होता है जब ऑक्शन में कोई नहीं भरता है, तब तो क्लोज आउट मोड के हिसाब से ये सेटल होता है। बट बहुत रेयरेस्ट ऑफ द रेयरेस्ट केस में ये सेटलमेंट में या फिर क्लोजर में जाता है। अदरवाइज ऑक्शन में स्टॉक मिल ही जाता है, ज्यादा तौर पर आपका बोरोवर ही रिटर्न कर देता है। सो दैट इज हाउ द रिस्क इज मैनेज्ड टू कवर द बोरोवर, टू लेंडर, सॉरी, टू कवर द लेंडर।
Thank you, Pandurang. So as you can see, SLBM एक्सचेंज ने इतना अच्छा मैकेनिज्म बना के रखा हुआ है कि आपका स्टॉक जो आप लैंडिंग कर रहे हो बहुत हद तक सेफ है। And to be honest, as a lender, you don't even have to worry about all those things because that is like, I think less than 1% of that chance. Pandurang, correct me if I'm wrong. I think even less than 1% maybe auction में जाता होगा.
I do not have the exact statistics about this data. NCL would have, but बताने का मतलब यही है कि जो क्लोज आउट के हिसाब से हम जो सेटल करते हैं वैसा बहुत रेयरेस्ट, नॉट इवन 1%, मतलब रेयरेस्ट ऑफ द रेयरेस्ट केस में ऐसा होता है कि स्टॉक का पैसा देना पड़ता है लेंडर को। हम ऑक्शन में मिल ही जाता है, बट ऑक्शन में कितना परसेंट जाता है दैट आई नीड टू चेक द डेटा, वेदर इट इज 1%, 5% और 0.5%. आई एम नॉट अवेयर ऑफ द नंबर्स, आई विल हैव टू चेक। या
Sure. All right. So we have a few client, कुछ client के complaint भी है कि SLBM कोटक के प्लेटफॉर्म पे इतना ज़्यादा फ्लेक्सिबल नहीं है, इतना ट्रांसपेरेंट नहीं है, एंड वी टेक दैट फीडबैक। हम लोग उस पर काम कर रहे हैं, एंड वी आर मेकिंग श्योर कि गोइंग फॉरवर्ड SLBM experience on our platform becomes more transparent and more smoother for all our clients. Also, कुछ feedback था, कुछ question था regarding the brokerage and charges. So just to give you a rough idea, obviously it depends from client to client and your relationship and all. But just to give you a rough idea, it's approx 15% of your income that you earn from the SLBM, including all the charges. So let's suppose if you earn 100 rupees from SLBM, the income is 100 rupees, then approx 15 rupees will be the charges. This is just for an example purpose. Obviously, you can communicate with our customer service team or your relationship manager for further information. We have a few more questions on our platforms regarding our platform, like the historical trade of SLBM and the lending fees are not available. We take that as a feedback, and we will obviously going to improve on all those points. Any other question, guys? We are more than happy to take it. Pandurang, there is one question on a rollover part. Can you help us out with the rollover?
Yes.
How does rollover happens?
Yes. So along with the regular contracts, which is the regular series and the new series, apart from that, both the series, दोनों series में हम लोग rollover contracts भी देते हैं. Rollover contracts are available for 2 months. That is current to next month and current to second month. So ये दो ही rollover available रहता है at any given point of time. So rollover में क्या होता है ना, basically I'll give you a small example. So let's say I am a client, I have lended my shares in this month, okay? So I have got 1 rupees as a lending fees per share. So what happens कि आफ्टर 30 डेज में, जैसे मेरा एक्सपायरी नियर आ रहा है, या जैसे भी आई एम सीइंग सम एक्टिविटी इन द रोल ओवर कॉन्ट्रैक्ट्स, अगर मुझे लगता है कि मेरा जो लेंड है करंट मंथ का वो मुझे कंटिन्यू करना है नेक्स्ट मंथ के लिए भी, तो मैं रोल ओवर सीरीज के जरिए मैं मेरा ट्रांजैक्शन एग्जीक्यूट कर सकता हूँ। सो रोल ओवर में काम करने का बहुत अच्छा फायदा ये है कि आपका जो सेटलमेंट होता है, फर्स्ट सेटलमेंट जो होता है रिवर्स लेग का, जो फर्स्ट थर्सडे को आपको शेयर्स रिटर्न आने थे, वो शेयर्स रिटर्न ना आने की जगह आपका रोल ओवर में कंटिन्यू हो जाएगा ट्रांजैक्शन। सो मैंने जो ए क्लाइंट ने बी क्लाइंट को लेंड किया था, अभी ए क्लाइंट ने रोल ओवर में पार्टिसिपेट करके सी क्लाइंट को दे दिया। सो ए क्लाइंट को उस मंथ की एक्सपायरी में स्टॉक्स रिटर्न नहीं आएगा, वो कंटिन्यू सी के पास से चला जाएगा, एंड एडिशनल लेंडिंग फीस का इनकम लेंडर को आता रहेगा। ऐसा रोल ओवर में पार्टिसिपेट कर सकते हैं। मैक्सिमम आप एक साल के लिए ज्यादा से ज्यादा रोल ओवर कर सकते हैं बैक टू बैक। मतलब जैसे मैंने लेंड किया तो कंटिन्यू मेरा रोल ओवर, लेंड का रोल ओवर 12 मंथ्स ही कर सकता हूं, 12 मंथ्स के बाद मैं नहीं कर सकता फॉर अ सिक्योरिटी, एक सिक्योरिटी में। वैसे मल्टीपल सिक्योरिटीज है तो यू हैव मल्टीपल अपॉर्चुनिटीज, बट जस्ट अ कंस्ट्रेंट कि आप 12 मंथ्स के लिए ही रोल ओवर कर सकते हैं, उससे ज्यादा आप रोल ओवर नहीं कर सकते। सो आई होप आई हैव आंसर्ड a rollover related question.
Yeah, Pandurang, thank you so much. So before finishing it up, I will take one last question. So this Abhishek has this question: what is the minimum amount of shares that a customer can lend? So Abhishek, from exchange part, there is no minimum amount or minimum quantity. As a broker, we have kept a cap just to make sure that the client does not enter into a loss-making trade. So whatever is the minimum transaction amount or whatever is the minimum cost, okay, we make sure that that cost is covered by the client, and only then the order is executed. So that is there from a broker end. From exchange part, there is no minimum quantity as such for SLBM. So
One
I,
one
yeah.
question I think, just to add to rollover, I think someone had asked about what is OD and ON series. So ये
Hmm.
rollover के series है। OD का मतलब होता है अक्टूबर टू दिसंबर, और ON का मतलब होता है अक्टूबर टू नवंबर। सो जो मंथ का फर्स्ट नेम है उस हिसाब से ये रोल ओवर सीरीज रहता है। एंड इसका सिंपल मीनिंग है कि अलॉन्ग विद द नॉर्मल कॉन्ट्रैक्ट्स ये रोल ओवर कॉन्ट्रैक्ट्स है। जो अक्टूबर ओडी आप देखते हो तो ओडी का मतलब होता है अक्टूबर टू दिसंबर, एंड अक्टूबर टू ओएन का मतलब होता है अक्टूबर टू नवंबर। सो दीज आर not normal series. This is the rollover series, which is separate, which is having separate order book, and which trades separately.
Correct. Pandurang, just one question from my side. So we have this two series, Series A and Series B. Generally, what we have seen that more liquidity in Series B contract recently.
Yes. So I'll give you, before answering your question, I'll give you एक background मैं आप सबको बताता हूँ कि मतलब पहले एक सीरीज चल रहा था तो नया सीरीज लाने का मतलब क्या था। सो आपको पता ही रहेगा कि बहुत सारे कॉर्पोरेट एक्शन किसी भी स्टॉक में होते रहते हैं, और बहुत सी बार ये कॉर्पोरेट एक्शन का कुछ ज्यादा एक्शन किए बिना जस्ट फॉर द सेक ऑफ हैविंग इट वो कॉर्पोरेट एक्शन होते हैं, जैसे कि एजीएम और ईजीएम। जैसे कंपनीज को एजीएम करना है या ईजीएम करना ही है जस्ट फॉर द सेक ऑफ डूइंग इट, वो होता है, उससे कोई फाइनेंशियल चेंजेस होते नहीं है। बट इससे क्या होता है ना, पहले ओल्ड सीरीज में क्या होता था ना, विदाउट एनी फाइनेंशियल इम्प्लीकेशंस स्टिल द कॉन्ट्रैक्ट इज फोरक्लोज्ड, मतलब ड्यूरिंग द मंथ वो फोरक्लोज होता था। इसके लिए बहुत से पार्टिसिपेंट्स ने हमें ये बताया कि आप नया सीरीज लेके आओ जहां पे भी अगर कॉर्पोरेट एक्शंस में एजीएम और ईजीएम रहेगा तो भी हमारा कॉन्ट्रैक्ट फोरक्लोज नहीं होना चाहिए, हमारा कॉन्ट्रैक्ट फर्स्ट थर्सडे की एक्सपायरी तक चलना चाहिए। So taking that feedback, we have created new series. And to tell you, to share some numbers, maximum volume, I would tell you कि more than 90-95% of the volume या काम जो होता है SLB में वो नए सीरीज में ही होता है। जो X1, X2, X3 आपने जो सीरीज देखा उसमें आई एम सॉरी, उसमें मैक्सिमम काम होता है।
Right, Pandurang.
Yes.
Pandurang, to increase the volume from exchange side, क्या steps उठाए जा रहे हैं? Can we expect कि आगे जाके कुछ और बढ़ सकता
Yes,
है from
yes,
yeah.
yes. So I read a couple of comments wherein why there is not much of a buzz about this particular product. So first thing is that इसमें literacy का के तौर पे NSE is doing many things. To tell you, NSE बहुत से प्रोग्राम्स करता है, बहुत से लिटरेसी ट्रेनिंग्स करता है, जहाँ पे कि ये प्रोडक्ट हम एंड कस्टमर तक पहुंचाने का कोशिश करते हैं। सेकेंडली, हम लोग अभी बहुत से ट्रेडिंग मेंबर्स हैं, जैसे कोटक सिक्योरिटीज इज वन ऑफ द ट्रेडिंग मेंबर, वैसे हम लोग जॉइंट सेशंस कर रहे हैं बहुत। वन ऑफ द सेशन इज टुडेज सेशन। उसके बाद में हम लोग अगर आप देखेंगे तो सोशल मीडिया पे भी हम लोग बहुत सी चीजें अबाउट एसएलबी, अगर क्वेश्चनर हो गया, या फिर हम लोग बोले कि अवेयरनेस थीम्स जैसे हम लोग करते हैं। सो देर आर मेनी थिंग्स विच एनएससी करंटली डूइंग टू प्रमोट और टू हाईलाइट दिस पर्टिकुलर प्रोडक्ट टू ए रिटेल। सो इसका सिंपल मतलब बैकग्राउंड यही है कि दैट एवरीवन शुड बी अवेयर ऑफ द प्रोडक्ट्स, और फिर बेसिस दी अपॉर्चुनिटी आई थिंक क्लाइंट को बताना नहीं पड़ता है क्या करना है क्या नहीं करना है। आई थिंक तो उसके बाद ऑटोमेटिकली पिकअप हो ही जाता है। एसएलबी में थोड़ा सा कंस्ट्रेंट ये है कि अपॉर्चुनिटी बेस्ड प्रोडक्ट होता है। सो अगर मैं फ्रैंकली बताऊं आप सबको, तो सारे के सारे सिक्योरिटीज, जैसे 614 सिक्योरिटीज मैंने बोला, सारे के सारे लिक्विड नहीं रहते हैं। सो अपॉर्चुनिटी बेस्ड काम होता है। इसके लिए नॉट ऑलवेज, मतलब जैसे फॉर एग्जांपल मेरे पास ऐसा पोर्टफोलियो जिसमें से एक भी सिक्योरिटी में अपॉर्चुनिटी या फिर बिड आस्क नहीं है। ऐसे केसेस में क्लाइंट क्या करे? सो ऐसे केसेस में क्लाइंट कुछ कर नहीं सकते। बट टू टेल यू, एफएनओ स्टॉक्स एंड नॉन एफएनओ स्टॉक्स जो एलिजिबल है, उसमें अगर आप देखेंगे तो अच्छा खासा काम होता है, 50-50% वेटेज वाला काम होता है। तो these days, because of the learning, because of the awareness, I think the activity is picking up, retail is coming to the market, and NSE is also doing many steps, as I've discussed previously.
Thank you, Pandurang. So one of the client is asking us a question: what is the registration process for SLBM? It's very simple. You have to just go to our website. Once you log into our website, under the classic website view, you have to go to the new product section. Under new product section, you have to click on SLBM Access, and then it's a complete online process. You don't need to as such download or upload any document. You just have to tick mark on terms and conditions, fill up the details, and click on the submit button. Tentatively, in 2 days time, in a T+2 day time, your activation will happen in SLBM. Order placement as of now is still offline, so that process is still offline. But the activation part can be done online through our website as of now. Okay, I think we don't have much of a question right now. Thank you very much everyone for participating in this today's session. As we can see, many of the client have asked us to have a webinar in Hindi, so we will try to do it in the future as well. But anyway, thank you very much for joining us today. I hope the session was useful for all of you. I hope that SLBM is kind of a complex product, so I hope we have covered some part and we have cleared some of the doubt for you or for the listeners. Pandurang, again, thank you very much for joining us today. It was really a wonderful session with you. I hope the client
Thank,
have also completely enjoyed.
thank you, Gaurav, and thank you, Kotak Securities, for the opportunity given to me. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you everyone. Signing off, Gaurav Shresth.